Alright, here we go. Good evening once again.
Yes, hello. Welcome back to Squid Research Labs. Today we are going to be investigating a very tough matchup.
Yeah, well, we've seen these teams butt heads a couple of times before. I think they had some pretty intense matches back in Season 2.
Yeah, specifically they had a 5-4 match in Season 2, Midnight taking that one out by 1 game. So it was super close.
And of course...
these teams have been practicing a lot as well. Team Midnight have been doing a lot of off-the-hook showdowns recently, and they've been placing very well in those. So, both of these teams have been playing a lot recently, and they are going to bring it tonight, and we're in for a treat.
And of course, we've got a couple of other matches happening tonight. I believe we have Krillbill versus Sailor Vimos, I think?
Yes,
starting up
right.
just now, and we've got Kokrotzis versus Team Alpha scheduled to begin in half an hour. We do have people recording those ones, so hopefully we'll be able to give you some commentary and streaming on those tomorrow or possibly on Saturday. But for the meantime, tonight's all about Div 1.
Yes, and what a powerful set we have. We are starting off with one of my personal favorite maps for Clan Blitz, Piranha Pit. It's been on rotation recently, so these teams will have practiced this.
And we're seeing an ink brush and a squeezer. I love it.
Ooh, that is some good stuff.
That foil squeezer is just a thing of beauty on plans.
Yeah, and now this map is very open, so you usually see a lot more long-range weaponry, and it is good to see both a splat ring and a splat charger.
Both teams are clearly going to be using that distance to their advantage. Pick's pretty indecisive so far.
Yeah, there is a bit of a clan lead going on right now. Oh no, never mind. That's completely ended. Yeah, it's very close at the moment. Diamanta's kind of hanging back a bit more. It seems like they want to. Ooh. Yeah, they're definitely trying to gather clams at a slow rate. They're going for a big score, but with the Stingray wiping out 3 of their teammates.
Yeah, Midnight absolutely in a position where they could pull off a push here. We see that baller coming in from Atomic right by with super jumps happening.
Yeah, we're going to see
there we go
on the board here.
And
the
Yessoan just the splashdown.
Now it's interesting, Diamanta knew that was all coming in, and they just stood back, let the splashdown happen, and wiped the team out. That
Seems
was
like a bit of an
very good
unforced error on Midnight's part.
Yeah, a little bit, but that's okay. That just shows that both of these teams, they've got a good idea of how the other team's going to play, and they're ready for any tricks they might have.
Bat Dog there going down to useless and kind of proving why it's called that.
Yeah, oh my goodness. And that's 2 down on the side of Diamanta. We are going to see a good clam gather here for Midnight, but will they be able to get some points in?
Well, of course, right now both teams sort of running on empty a little bit. Diamantia do have the security of their freebie clan still under the basket. Otherwise, neither team really in a position to make a push yet.
No, we do have 2 down on the side of Diamanta again. They are losing their plays a bit more often, but they're not actually showing any disadvantage because of it. It seems the team is running the right gear setup for the plays they're making.
Now, of course, what we've seen earlier tonight, in both of the other Div 1 sets, is that in Clan Blitz it's so important to be able to just get a big push going, to score all at once, to not have to worry about breaking through a penalty, not have to worry about several times where you're giving people a freebie. We haven't seen that so far. Maybe it'll happen this time.
We're going to see some jumps in here. We've got the baller. But no one's actually able to jump in, and they're making something of it. All of Diamanta's members have been tagged by the Super Clan, so this isn't too hard of a fight, but we see most of the team going down. Luke is going to have to back off there.
Yeah, like a lone charger is not going to make a push
that
happen.
had potential for sure, but the fact that they just weren't able to pick off those targets meant that the push was kind of shit out.
Spaceman smacked out of that baller just as it was prepping. Things were looking pretty good for Diamantia, and they might still try for the push, but they've just been picked off.
Yeah. It's just not happening. Both teams are playing their A game on defense.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting seeing neither of them able to get a foothold.
Watching it now, we can see just in the center here, we've got 3 members of Midnight just trying to gain turf control. But the Diamanta team, they're on full defense. They're not letting anything get by them.
Well, of course, they've been more often than not the team with players going down. Oh boy, here we go. Bubbles and a super jump. Fluxy's splashdown there does pick up a few players. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be it. But Atomic, no sneaking down there, just keeping the push alive.
Score, and they're not gone down.
Oh boy, yeah, Yessoan goes down, but Atomic's still in position there. Oh, there we go. So that's a little better, but still I feel this is a shaky score. Alright, so I guess at this point, Midnight, in principle they're ahead, there's only a minute left, but they shouldn't be resting on their laurels. They've got 51 points scored. It's only going to take 3 Super Clams to beat that right away. And I'm pretty confident Diamantia could manage that.
It's very hard for anyone to avoid
that. Yeah, wow. This is looking pretty mean. And that's that clean white.
3 members.
Oh no! And then Depressor leaving that power clam behind for a teammate to pick up. I like this push. Oh boy. Yeah, wow, that last minute overtake is going to allow for an overtime. We are going to see the pity clam drop, and it's not going to take much after that to get an overtake. So Leo picks it up.
They do have 2 Super Clams ready to go here, and they are establishing turf control. They will be able to push back in.
They've got a ball already. Atomic's going in, and I reckon he's going to be able to make it to the basket. The question is whether or not the power clams are going to be there.
It's going to be up to Depressor to hold this down. They've
One
got the
jump
high
high,
ground.
one jump
Oh,
low.
it's just out of time.
That clock is merciless.
Oh my goodness, they had that if they were able to get that in just a second earlier.
That is absolutely heartbreaking.
Oh,
Sitting
the twists
in the
and
lead.
turns for that match, my goodness, that was incredible.
Yeah, wow. Sitting in the lead for so long, only losing it right at the last 30 seconds and then being denied your attempt to take back in overtime. Boy. Oh boy.
That was definitely something. That, I lost mic connection for a bit there, but that 3 splat splashdown at that critical moment was incredible to see. Like, they jumped out just from the middle of combat to perfectly place themselves on their opponents.
And that explains it too. I was wondering where you were going. It looks like
Yes.
it's, Fortunately, it seems we don't have any internet gremlins giving us technical issues at least. Those are much harder to knock on the head.
Yes, it's just my Discord. It's deciding to cut me out every so often.
Well, it will be what it will be. So we have had it advertised there are going to be substitutions every match, and it looks like in this case we are seeing substitutions from both teams.
Ooh, I'm interested to see because Rainmaker on Albacore is still a very open map as well. But because of it has the bridges, which are very unique and that they can't be painted, makes for a difficult push on certain weapons. So we'll be interested to see what they change up to combat that.
Yeah. So I do see Medical jumping in on Midnight's side.
Oh boy.
And the Yoke has not left the lobby. Now, if anyone was watching during the seeding tournament, or indeed was tuning in earlier last night, will remember that Midnight have been experimenting with double charger lineups.
Yeah, and with these 2 players, it's almost a guarantee that we're going to see something to that effect.
Yeah,
they've been playing around with this for a while, since even, I think they were playing around it last year, just towards the end of the year. Both of them are incredible, so they could take the charger role on their own, but it's interesting to see how they can change up the typical team format to run 2 chargers and apply that back pressure.
Of course, there's every possibility they might just run 1 charger and get one of the other sniper players to run a pocket weapon. I guess the only way to find out is just to see that spawn plat. Still, I'm excited to see what they're going to do with this.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to see this one, especially on Rainmaker, but considering the map, I think the teams are going to be going for a very defensive output. They're going to try and stop that Rainmaker from even getting up ramps or over bridges. It can work, but they have to make sure they're perfectly covering all possible flanks with those charges.
Yeah. Of course, we've also got Cucullin subbing in on Diamantia's side. Be very interesting to see what he's bringing to this match.
Yeah, I don't know too much about him. I tried to do some research, but he keeps a pretty low profile.
It's
just
true.
going to come down to what he plays on the day, I guess.
Well, I remember that used to play a mean Octobrush, but has probably had a lot of time to pick up other weapons as well. And it's a ballpoint Nuvo. Beautiful weapon on this map. And it's double charger!
Oh, we're gonna get it! Alright, that's exciting.
And
it's
flat charger both times.
Yeah. I wonder how they're gonna set up on this map for the opening clip. Let's have a look.
You want the interesting little bits. Atomic running opening gambit there on that Splattershot Pro.
Clearly they were hoping for the quick wipe on this, but we see two already going down.
Yeah, Midnight. Very confident with this opening.
Goodness, yeah, Midnight are doing a wonderful job. They have no one opposing them right now. Probably going to run the Rainmaker. Yeah, Luke's picked it up there.
And looks like they're going for the conventional left push. Medical just deleting Cucullin with a snipe. Spaceman buying a lot of time, and oh boy, that Rainmaker, we've had a disconnect.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I was wondering how they lost the Rainmaker there, but that makes sense.
Well,
alright.
Early days, so on the plus side, no one's gonna, there can be any confusion about whether or not this warrants a rematch. So, we'll just move it to the podium, knock it out, try again. Hopefully it'll work a little bit better
now,
next
the thing
time.
is, I want to talk more about these comps now that we have them on screen here. We can even check out the gear layouts for a bit. We've got Tenacity being run on... which was the weapon that dropped? I've just missed that.
The Hero Charger.
Yeah, the Hero Charger with Tenacity. I was like, that is an interesting call. So I think we can determine from that we'll probably see the Luke playing the further back charger, and we'll see Medical pushing up a bit more and just deleting people up front.
And I think that's quite consistent
to
with how
kind of get
Medical...
that disparity to fill those roles that they're not exactly hitting with their weapon comps.
Yeah, because Medical does tend to play quite aggressively with the charger, and oops, I think we've had the lobby advanced prematurely. Well, we're hitting everything in the internet bingo tonight.
Okay.
So yeah, we're just gonna have to move forward. Yeah, there we go. Disband remake.
Okay.
But honestly, as much as the Tenacity tells us something, I'm much more interested in what that opening gambit on Medical's Splattershot, not Medical's, Atomic Splattershot Pro might mean.
Yeah, it is an interesting...
It's numerically, there's no arguing that opening gambit isn't big. It gives you, effectively, I think it's 30 points each? 3 mains worth?
Yeah, it's huge, but it's especially in ranked mode, it's for such a short amount of time. You have to make the most of it while it's back.
Well, of course, we did see a lot of main power up as well.
Now that's to be expected, especially it's a very powerful... Depending on the weapon, of course, it can be very useful or just not as useful. But for the weapons we were seeing there, it's super handy. I believe you're picking up stability, damage...
Yeah, if you can try for that pseudo 2-shot on the Splattershot Pro. And the other interesting thing, of course, is because it's the vanilla Splattershot Pro, it's got point sensors. So it's potentially quite practical to just farm assists from your teammates. Given they're running 2 charges, this is a situation where I can actually see the point sensor still being useful even if you're communicating. I don't feel it's going to be redundant, because it'll just give the charges that precise location of their target. And as Farron's is pointing out in chat, Rain's also a decent way to pick up random assists here and there. And so we could potentially see if we can get that YOLO, opening gambit lasting for a minute or more, perhaps, if they get things going.
I think that'd be wonderful. They'd be able to get a very strong score if they were able to keep that up for a short amount of time.
Well, of course, that's the interesting thing, is the opening gambit, you do have to be in place to get those assists before your teammates get splat. So in a way, you can almost get sabotaged if your teammates are too good. But given they're actually running this in a comp, in a series match, there's no way that's accidental. They're clearly well aware that Atomic's got that, and they're presumably going to do what they can to try and play into that.
Of course, yeah. And especially because as well, a lot of their teammates, they have the ability to get to the opponent before their teammates have that shot. So they will be able to get in place and just pick up all those assists.
Which, of course, is the big advantage it has over, say, the NZAP, for instance, where most of its assists in an opening gambit build are probably going to be based on income, which takes a bit of time to farm and activate. Alright, well, here we go.
Just taking a moment to look at Manta's comp as well. It seems they've gone a bit more general. They've got a lot of comebacks, so I think they're expecting a bit of tough competition on this one.
Well, of course, they are running two very, very short range, just shooters that are just, there to kill people, get in people's faces. And both of their one of their back rises is a ball point, so honestly that thing can just do anything. But the Dynamo obviously would need to be a bit more conservative, a bit more cautious with its movement.
Now Midnight had a very great opening play there. They managed to split the other team in two and just take out one half of their team. But we saw an excellent defense on behalf of Diamanta, just proving that they're not actually going to just take this one lying down.
And yes, Atomic with that opening gambit, I think possibly selected, picking up the Rainmaker. And there we go, getting scored.
I mean, it was a very good push.
We've still got 3 people up on Midnight.
Oh, they're still going!
They are. They're just saying, you thought 28 points was good, we'll show you much better than that. Just realising that is probably not going to be one. And in fact, Fat Dog's Dynamo just asserting that tremendous pressure when you've got indirect range.
Yeah, the defense pressure on that is just incredible. Like, they did very well to pick that up again and get past the defenses a bit more, but there was so much in front of them that if they'd made it any further than that, I think it would have been a miracle.
Fluxy there, pulling out that inkjet and trading with Luke there.
Yeah, that's very good, and Medical's here to pick it up and pick up any team members that go and pick up that Rainmaker. We're not going to see an offensive push here from Diamantia in quite a while.
No, they need time to, to get some momentum back, to claim territory in the middle, and Midnight aren't giving it to them. They're going in for another push.
Ooh, but that is 2 down, 3 down. They're going to have a hard time keeping their defense up here. We're going to see something from Diamanta now.
And then that pseudo wipe as well. Atomic just caught a bit unprepared, I think, for an attack from 2 directions. And Cullen grabs the Rainmaker. Let's go.
Okay, so they've got their specials coming out here, so they definitely have a strong push advantage. So getting past this corridor is going to be very difficult with a Stingray coming in right about now.
Yeah, that spawn rate is just terrifying on this map because it's so hard to punish. Counter ray is really the only way to deal with it unless you've already done a spawn invasion.
Yeah, and with such good range offensive, that side path is not actually going to be as effective as it normally is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that's the end of that push.
Yeah. It was still very good, like, it's very respectable, but it's not going to win them the game, and with 2 minutes left, they're going to need to start trying very coordinated to finish this game out.
Well, of course, 2 minutes is still a fair bit of breathing room. I wouldn't feel too, if anything does just put the absolute nail in the coffin of Diamantia in this game, it's going to be not realising that 2 minutes is a fair bit, if they try to accelerate before they're ready to.
Ooh, we see Atomic actually sneaking around the side, doesn't quite get away with it, unfortunately. And excellent Stingray dodging, my goodness, look at that movement.
Fluxy does pick it up eventually with Cullen providing covering fire, but honestly, I wish I could move like that.
Ooh, that is 3 down again. We're actually going to see a second go at this side path here. They do not have any... Oh, they've got 1 special to back them up with.
With Atomic down, Jules down, Luke down, it's all on Medical. Cullen does get stopped though.
Medical doing an excellent job picking up the 1 target they need and then backing off.
And staying up for so long.
We're still going to see more push here. But whether they can get far enough up the ramp... No, not quite.
Yeah, Diamantia just a little bit too thirsty there.
Yeah, I can understand when you're so tantalizingly close, but unfortunately the spawn rate is just so high, it's just too hard to do anything with that. We are seeing a counter push here. All of Diamanta's teammates are in the right place.
They have... Oh no, they're
but they
had
get
a ray and then they just...
out. Medical's just... Oh, that was Luke.
Yeah, and Jules there just cleaning them up at close range. We do have 1, I think... Oh no, there we go. No, Fluxy taken out as well. Fat Dog and Spaceman both going for the super jump, I think, or... Either way, Midnight looking very happy right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great position for them because they can actually just hold this back here. As long as they don't... Ooh, the Stingray! This is good for Diamanta because they need that overtime to get this final push.
Yeah,
they've
got to get that bubble open, they've got to pick up the Rainmaker. There's no more time for them to mess around.
Ooh, but Medical is watching that Rainmaker. Oh, he's jumped back. That means
we've got a Stingray ready as well. We've got the counter ray taken out on Diamantia's side before it could really do anything.
Yeah, the double Stingray comp is actually very handy for this map because you can not move very freely when you've got other teammates pressing down on your opponents.
Yeah, really interesting seeing both teams going for, builds that were often quite unconventional in terms of specific weapon picks. Like both, that obviously the double charger should go without saying is not something you normally expect to see a team running, and the opening gambit as well. A very interesting call from Midnight.
Yeah. Also, I will say on Diamanta's side, I imagine it's Diamanta. I'm just going to stick to a pronunciation now. Because it's a sea animal.
They've got an eye at the end there, haven't they?
They did have a lot of very close range weapons, and knowing the team they're up against, I was actually surprised to see that. So I think they were probably hoping for more flanking opportunities, and maybe to catch the opponent out of position a bit more, but they just didn't have those opportunities.
Well, of course, the interesting thing was that at those longer ranges, Midnight effectively had 3 weapons that could handle it, because not only did they have the pair of splat charges, they also had Kukulkan there running that the ballpoint splatling. And the thing with the ballpoint, of course, is that if the other team is able to get aggressive and push right up in your face, the ballpoint can still just delete things at point-blank range if need be.
Absolutely. It is a wonderful surprise when you think you've caught a charger off on their out of position. You can just rev it up and let it go. And the best thing is, as well, like, say they're almost out of their charge, they can just rev it up again. There's no limit to when you can charge it. So it's a very interesting weapon. It doesn't appear to have a lot of downsides, but I think its kit is where it suffers a little bit. So yeah, as long as you're very focused on using your main weapon effectively, it can be very strong.
Well, of course, like both ballpoint variants see a lot of play still. I think the Nuvo's actually become the more favoured of the two. Rain obviously is handy if you're running a bunch of damage up, because it can mean people are easy to just get rid of with chip damage. And of course, beacons, I don't think beacons are ever bad.
Yeah, it just cements it as a very good anchor weapon. Like, you can anchor while not having to be anchor. It's great.
Well, of course, after, that game, I guess, where we've got a completely different approach coming up now. Anchovy Zones has none of that room to maneuver, none of that room to sort of give a little bit of distance.
Not. We've had 2 very open maps. Two very open maps, and now we're moving into close corridors, super flanks. We're gonna see. I love all the text that these teams do with the lifts. Some very fun lift play from these teams.
Well, of course, bubbles are. Of course, you're going to see them coming in.
They're almost a requirement for this one.
I wouldn't be shocked if I saw double bubbles from both teams, even.
Double bubble trouble.
I'm looking forward to seeing it at the end of the game.
We've had. I reckon we'll probably also see maybe a bucket or 2. You tend to see
the
those.
Cancer sloshing machine, maybe.
Oh yes, now that would be a good backline weapon for this.
Well, because you can, if you want, you can just sit back and troll people with the fizzy bombs. And when people close with you, you've still got a 2-shot weapon. You've got a splashdown, which can be so powerful as a bubble answer. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
We've got 3 substitutions made this game.
Wow.
My belief, Depressor swapping back in Kukulkan's place on Diamantia, and then Enios and Yessoan coming in for Midnight with Medical and Juz, backing up.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So very interesting to see. We're probably going to see a fair few loadout changes.
Okay. Yes. All right. So we've got both teams running a Splatling Deco.
That's 3 bubbles on this game.
It's not surprising. Just looking at abilities as well, we've got lots of tenacity on Midnight's side and lots of main power up on the side of Diamanta. So interesting to see how these loadouts pay out.
Well, of course, that splatter shot throw, the main power's really good for it. If you can get a 2-shot kill with it, then why wouldn't you take it? Very strong start for Midnight here.
Oh yes, excellent start. Not only did they get the zone immediately, but they grabbed control of the surrounding area as well, leaving not much room for Diamanta to fight.
And Atomic just mercilessly advancing with that ball, completely disrespecting Diamantia's spawn exit.
Luckily they weren't, luckily for Diamanta, they weren't able to fully hold the spawn there, and we're gonna probably see a counter push here with 2 specials on the way.
We have seen a disconnect though. In fact, that was my bad call. It's only single bubble there on Diamantia's side, because that's a cancer splash up throw, not a full.
Ah, but that was a Booyah bubble. That was an excellent combo. I wanted to see that pay out.
Well, of course, it did right away. The question is,
it does look
I think
fighting.
it was the same team that had a disconnect last time. It looks like, no, I actually can't tell. Let's go up top.
Yeah, they do still appear to be fighting here.
Yeah, because I think Midnight have already used their free replay. So they don't really have a choice, and this is really unfortunate for them.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's still not impossible. I've seen crazier comebacks happen, but with teams of this high caliber, being played down is such a hampering.
Oh! In a way, losing the lead might almost be a blessing in disguise for them. Sometimes psychologically, it's harder to defend a lead when you're down than it is to try and overtake.
Yeah, absolutely, and not to mention, like, you get those small special bonuses when you are losing, so this is going to be handy for them, but we do see the bubbles going out over the zone, which will probably represent a neutral.
Well, they've just been shredded. That Booyah bomb not going on the bubbles.
We did get the neutral.
Oh, an atomic going down though, so fresh bubbles coming out, but it's not enough to stop them.
That's unfortunate. You can see here the lack of just having one less charger has let Diamanta run this map wide.
They played it smart as well, because the one thing that's guaranteed to make you lose, even with a numbers disadvantage, is if you get impatient and get your spawn staggered.
Absolutely.
It doesn't really matter if you've got 4 people, if you're playing, like if you're playing 2v3 the whole time.
Oh, that was a wonderful threading of the bubble there. Oh, and the baller takes it right back. These two are not letting go.
But of course, we're in a situation where attrition just plays to Diamantia's favour. If every single player trades...
Because 2 members on Midnight are running Tenacity, we're going to see specials from them a lot.
Well, I guess it'll be interesting. I'm still not ready to call this one.
No, I don't think I am either.
Indeed,
this team seems to have a comp that's designed for if you go a team member down.
Well, maybe they knew that was going to happen. We've got Bubbles, we've got Brawler, and 2 players down on Diamantia's side, but they've got a splashdown ready on that. There we go. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Unfortunately, that looked good for them, but they're not quite able... Oh, they are going to get the cap here.
But of course,
you might not see the KO, but it's still going to be an uphill battle.
They're chasing a much meaner target than that. What, 23, 24? Now they've got to get it all the way down to 3.
It's definitely going to be tough. Especially with that 33-second penalty as well. It's not looking pretty.
And I think at this point, with now, yeah, like the score's getting even more mean, it's looking like it's pretty much just a matter of time.
I mean, we can see that tenacity in play here. We're going to see another special. It might be enough for a neutral cap, but getting it's 50 points on the board is going to be very difficult with 50 seconds left.
Honestly, I feel the real tenacity on display here as being actual, literal tenacity.
Yes, I would agree with that. The fact that they held on for as long as they did was rather incredible.
Yeah, you know, there are so many teams who would simply just go, no, there's not even any point trying. You're just going to panic, get wiped twice, and it'll be over in like 30 seconds. The fact that they were able to take that almost to the end of the regulation time, that is really impressive.
I totally agree. And the fact that like they did lose backline weapon, but they still had a decent enough comp to keep things alive. It's just testament to how much their team is practiced and they know how to deal when a player's down. Yeah, so unfortunately that is going to be a win for, well, fortunately for them, but unfortunately for the disconnect. We are going to see that, I believe that's 2-1 for Diamanta now, as we go into our 4th match.
Or if we choose to render it differently, as Aeon Frodo's contributed, that's actually, it's just 2 points to Telstra.
Ah, of course.
But yes, it does look like teams are moving forward, and so we're onto tower control on Sturgeon now.
Okay.
And, well, if Midnight don't bring medical here, then I'm really, really keen to find out what their plan is. And it looks like we have a fair bit of room made. We do see, yes, we do see medical coming into the lobby. Cucullin coming in on Diamantia's side. And so then I guess the question is, who else is playing? Are we going to see Leo trying again? Are we going to go for that double charger play? Or are they going to judge that the net issues are maybe a little bit too risky?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the worst thing to have to consider in your team's strategy is if you might have a disconnect during a match.
Well, it
Like,
looks
once you've
like...
used that replay.
Yeah, it
no one
looks
wants
like
to
they've
have to
decided to just say, just like, dare Telstra to do its worst. We do have Luke joining the lobby again.
Yeah. And, like, he's such an amazing player, you'd feel bad leaving him out just because his internet connection wasn't super stable.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's one of those situations where you might feel damned either way you hop. Because obviously if you just choose to leave this great player behind on the bench just because you're worried they might disconnect and you lose because of that... Oh, no! And we've had a lobby DC.
Wow.
At least this one's going to be a
another point
simple
for
matter
Telstra?
of remake everything. So it goes. It's just, better now.
Do other countries have it this bad? Is it just Australia or is it everyone?
Oh, everyone's got it to some extent. I feel Australia is a bit disproportionately hit.
Yeah.
People much better educated and involved than I have written tracts on the state of Australian internet infrastructure. So I don't think I'm really going to contribute that much more to it. But it would be lovely if things
could
would...
definitely take some improvements.
Wouldn't it be great if things just worked?
That would be nice, but as a software developer myself, I can tell you that is really the case.
Alright, well, we've got a fresh lobby up. We'll see how we go here.
Yeah. Speaking of things really working, I've had to disconnect from this call about 5 times now, so...
Okay, that's fine.
We're trucking along. One other thing I wanted to bring up as well. So both of these teams last season placed very high because they were both first division teams. We had Diamanta placing 5th and Midnight placing 3rd. So these teams are hotly contested. And we're seeing that in the gameplay today. These teams are very even.
Honestly, I feel so many of these games could really have gone either way. Both the ones that, got stepped on by internet and the ones that weren't. They were both situations where the team that didn't win still had a bunch of opportunities to do so, and just, things didn't play out that way.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of turnarounds and a lot of really big plays. Which is interesting because usually in Div 1 play sessions you see a lot more safe plays, you see very calculated and organised, and it leads to more of a defensive playstyle, but both of these teams are just duking it out. They are just not stopping, and I think that is all for the best. Especially if you're viewing. Alright, so coming up now, we do have most of the team members back in the lobby. And Sturgeon Tower Control. We haven't talked about this yet because we didn't quite make it there last time. But this is a very fun tower map, in my personal opinion at least. Because the tower is so often just out in the open and exposed, but it's not an open map per se. So you've got a lot of snipes and a lot of high altitude places to just bear down on the tower from. So it leads to some very interesting pushes where players aren't going to be too aggressive. They're going to be hopping on and off the tower because they just don't want to get taken out. And yeah, we'll also see some very interesting flanks because you can jump through that center section and just get around where the tower is. And probably also some bubbles as well because it provides a very nice defensive wall against oncoming attackers. So yeah, lots of interesting things for the tower on Sturgeon. And hopefully we will see most of them. In the meantime, I think we're just doing some lobby stuff. We've got nicknames happening. So
I think
Enios
is using this opportunity to change nickname, perhaps.
Okay, well, that's all right. We've got a bit of time. We'll see how that goes. We also seem to be in slight contention over the rematch rules. Just checking it out. Just goes to show even the Div 1 teams don't fully know how this stuff works because it's not the situation you want to familiarize yourself with. But unfortunately...
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, it is often just because especially when like, you have a team and you're kind of confident in your abilities, but you know it's close. There's always that little bit in the back of your brain that's like, maybe we should just take the win. Because like you want to be in good spirits and you want to give the other team their best opportunity to defend their ability to win. But by the same tokens, things don't always work out, and even if you do give a replay, it might not work out again. So, in the interest of time, it's usually best to move on, especially because we started at 10, and a lot of people have work in the morning, so. We'll see how that pans out. We do have our teams back in here. We do have Luke substituting out, unfortunately, I believe, because of the internet problems, but, you know, he's shown us some marvelous skill, and hopefully he won't have terrible internet for his future matches.
Yeah.
Because that man can shoot.
Absolutely. And of course, even with those disconnects causing problems, like Luke still proved was key really in getting that win for Midnight in the Rainmaker match.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I feel they've still probably gained more than they've lost from fielding Luke.
Of course, like it's never a bad idea to put your good players on. The internet is such an unruly thing. You never know when it's gonna screw you. It just will. So it's worth a gamble always, but at this point it's good to probably take a measured approach on this, and I can understand Midnight not wanting to lose any more matches to that, so we're finally going to see some tower control.
So just a brief word to chat. Dock disconnection due to excitement and whatever definitely happens. It happened at Don't Park on the Grass just like last month. I'm sure it happens in Japan a lot too.
It makes sense. Alright, so both teams are bringing out some nice comps. We've got a Lunar Blaster Tensor on the side of Diamanta, which is one of my personal favorites. We'll see how that one pans out for this map. Ooh, and we've already got 2 down on Diamanta. And two down on both sides.
This is just an absolute massacre on both sides. Like the meat
Absolutely, grind. I don't know where to point my camera at this point. It's okay, we are going to see a slight push here. With a splatling on the tower.
Anios picking up Fat Dog there, and then realising that perhaps it's a little bit too hot, and then Spaceman zipping in and out of that corner, showing you just why that Lunar Blaster is scary when it can play to its strengths.
Absolutely, but we saw wonderful work on Midnight there. Heavy splatling was cornered, and I think it was Atomic just taking out the Lunar Blaster. Unfortunately not preventing the trade, but doing a wonderful job protecting their team. And
Atomic, of course, is running into at least the same opening Gambit main power-up build that we saw in the Rainmaker match with the Splattershot Pro.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you can see, just moving at light speed.
Oh wow, this is incredible. We're seeing a very strong tower push. Oh my goodness. Calm down, Yasuno going with the triple in spawn. That is going to be a very tough score to beat.
That final checkpoint broken.
Dislodge.
Yeah, Anios just going, I don't care that you've got a dynamo, come at me bro. I'm just going to ride this tower all the way to the end.
Wow, now that was just an excellent play for Yasuno. Just jumping in there, taking out multiple team members on the staggered spawn. It was incredible to watch, and you can see, like, this is the reason that Midnight are one of the top teams, is because each of their players could solo a match.
Yeah, that shock and awe approach really, really paid off for them there.
Yeah, it's very good to see. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe opening Gambit plays are not very common and competitive.
I wouldn't say that you're wrong. It's like... I've not paid as much attention to the scene as I probably ought to, but I certainly wouldn't ever pick it as like as something that you would expect to see routinely.
No, I know I'd never pick it. Oh my goodness! To have that confidence with where your team is going to be positioned and how you're going to pick up all those assists and splats super early on, it's amazing to see, but like...
Well, of course, because it's a gamble.
It's a gamble for a reason.
If you just if you're careless and get taken down in the opening rush, then it's almost guaranteed that you're not going to be able to extend it, and then it's just you're running with 10 points less worth of gear in the hat slot, no less, where you could be otherwise running comeback or tenacity, or obviously you're just 10 points of anything stackable.
It's a very valuable slot, and to run opening Gambit is the ultimate Gambit, and we're seeing it pay off today. In a spectacular display, no less.
Of course, I suppose the next step is whether or not someone's going to take that to the next level and then run last-ditch effort instead. Probably something for another night.
Maybe. Maybe not these teams, but maybe. I've seen many a comeback come from that, so it can happen.
Well, of course, with Turf out of the high div rotation now, you don't have that lovely situation where a full sixth of the game is going to be available for it.
Yeah, and like it makes sense to be running it on Turf, especially because the benefits it provides are all about inking Turf. So it's a no-brainer for Turf War, but for these other modes, it has its uses, but it's not as powerful as Open Gambit is, that's for sure.
So scores level at 2-2 now. Although yes, once again we've had our private Telstra track. Telstra is still in fact leading. It's actually 2-2-3.
Yeah, I was gonna say Telstra really is using all the OP connections today. It's almost not fair on our players.
It's a bit unfortunate. They've already claimed one scalp. But now we've got our first mode repeat. So Clams on Skipper.
I want to talk about this as well because Clam Blitz on Skipper Pavilion is an excellent play. Mostly because of the short route to the goal. Now, like, it's amazing because you can get right there, but it's also right on spawn, so it's the ultimate risk reward. You can take the slow path, which is much further from spawn, but it'll take you a lot longer to get around there, and while you're doing that, the other team could take the quick path, score on your goal, and then you're on the defensive and out of position.
We've seen some very interesting Skipper Clam games so far tonight. Obviously, beforehand, when we saw Morning Sun just, turn it up to 11, just produce this relentless, I'm pretty sure they got a one-push knockout.
Yeah, it was a brutal thing to watch. It was over within 2 minutes, and no one was able to talk. I was speechless myself.
And then from last night's recording, when we saw, this is terrible, I should remember this.
I can't bail you out, I didn't see it.
5 o'clock? No, they're down in Div 2. I don't know, is it 5 o'clock? I'm hopeless.
That's okay, we'll leave it there.
Ali's making hand signals at me and I'm just still drawing blanks.
That's okay, we'll move on from it, we're about to start this match.
This is shameful. Anyway,
one thing
it was
I
a
would
pretty
really
rad,
like to see from this is I want to see clams being passed across the river, because it can happen, and it can happen to great effect. If teams are able to set up like a conveyor belt of clams towards the goal, we can see some very high scores in a very short amount of time.
And we are now seeing a Forged Pro, not a false alarm like last time I called it.
And we do have the Kensa Pro as well with a lot of hoping to see that Phantom 2 shot.
And the Kensa Roller, I really, really love the Presser taking that there. It's such a wonderful clam weapon.
Okay, we see Spaceman's getting all up in grill and has
Yessoan going for the lightning break!
Oh my goodness!
No support there yet. Yessoan just retreating. Just a hit and fade. Jules now coming up with bubbles, but I'm pretty sure the barrier's going to be closed before they can make it there. So, and then Jules is going for that optimistic throw on the closed basket.
It was a good play though, because we did have Spaceman locking down on Midnight's spawn, so being able to get that early score in really puts Midnight on the defensive.
Well, I hesitate to call it uncoordinated, because obviously while we didn't have the coordination on the push itself, it was taking advantage of the fact that Diamantia weren't catching their goal.
Absolutely, yeah, they were out of position. It was a very good play.
It's very much going against the conventional wisdom we've been talking about lately.
Sorry, Midnight have just thrown a power clam into the water. That was an unfortunate play. And now we're seeing a strong push from Diamantia here. They are ready to score.
The press showing why you should fear the Kensa Roller. But
my
Atomic
goodness!
Just saying no, I don't care.
That is an excellent defense on Midnight, with 2 players taking out an entire team.
Jules has got the bubbles ready.
Stuff you want to see.
There we go, we get... Oh no, Depressor and Fluxy are able to stop it.
Still something, maybe? Yeah, we are going to see some score here, wow.
Oh, there we go. Camera's under control now. It looks like Yessoan is still there to just make things irritating for Diamantia.
Yeah, that was an excellent turnaround there. It didn't look very good for Midnight, but they were able to bring in that second splashdown.
still, that cost them a lot. They've just had 3 players cleaned up in quick succession, so this should be fuel for Diamantia to get a big push going.
Oh, I thought so, but we can see Atomic's doing a very good job defending down the bottom of the map. And unless they can take the farm... Oh no! And that's another power clam in the water!
And Medical's charge is just proving so oppressive, just stopping that high power clam and depress it. So Spaceman left entirely alone.
Yeah, Midnight recovering excellently from that 3 down. To the point where they're now on the offensive.
Yeah. Well, this is absolutely furious. And
Oh
Yessoan
my
again!
goodness! Oh, just that sneaky... Oh, the curling bombs are excellent for this, because they're just able to sneak up with no one noticing.
Alright, well, obviously while that basket's open, Fat Dog can't do anything with that power clam. They've got to wait for it to close. They've got bubbled by the basket, but no one can take advantage of them.
That's the thing, now we're just going to see again Midnight doing an excellent job respawning and defending. Able to stop every push that has come out of Diamanta so far.
Alright, well, Atomic now just lurking by the basket with the baller, but it looks like no one's quite ready for super jump there. Doesn't look
Very
clams haven't
ominous.
been gathered.
Okay, we are actually going to see a play here from Midnight, maybe able to get a score on the board.
Ooh, yeah, like Diamantia, they don't just, at the moment they need more clams. They've got a power clam, but nothing small.
Yeah.
I think... No, yeah, we'll see.
Oh no! Not quite able to make it to the basket. Oh, we might see the pick up here though,
We
depending on how the
do,
defense
Spaceman
is.
grabs it and goes for it.
Okay.
And
We've
then a
got
lot of
points on the
small
board
clams
and
back
a
there,
lot of
and
clams
super
nearby.
jumps. Neither of them in really great positions. Fluxing there does manage to wrong foot Atomic, but doesn't get the splat.
Unfortunately, they had all the clams they needed there, but they just weren't able to maintain the defensive position. Midnight were able to clean up and put an end to that push.
Showing this tremendous aggression, getting right into Depress's face with a splat charger, no less.
I mean, it's definitely powerful play, and we're seeing why Midnight are just so well known for
Here
their
we go.
off-the-hook showdown.
32 clams, baller, super jumps, Medical breaks the barrier, Juz gets super clam in, and then a splashdown super jump from... Yeah, that's it, sure,
That's
it.
gonna call it! Oh my goodness.
Boy.
Now, the worst thing is that Diamanta were in place to defend, but they were able to, like clearly Midnight had been practicing, they threw their clams just before they hit the ground to keep that timer going.
Yeah.
And then that splashdown coming in at the end was
Yeah,
just
that
the
super
ultimate
jump
surprise.
splashdown. Just turning what was already a really, really solid lead into a complete rout.
Yeah, that was incredible, and like that was, I believe, 20 to 100 on that scoreboard.
Yeah, only the one power clam going in from Diamantia, and long after Midnight had made 2 like pretty decent pushes.
Yeah, this is why I wanted to see that map, because we saw teams make use of both paths, like the number of sneaky scores we saw from the long path around the side there.
Well,
Incredible,
honestly,
and
I think Midnight still, you know, probably still singing a bit from the Piranha Pit Clams match, where they, you know, they did everything right once they were in that end game. You know, they got overtaken right near the end. They were patient, and then the overtime counter killed them like by a matter of milliseconds.
Oh yeah, that.
I think they wanted
really
to show
should
that
have
like,
been
they
their
can do it
game.
properly.
It's unfortunate because they had all the pieces in the right place there, but they just were a second shy, and you know, you always feel like, what could you have done better in that situation? But there really isn't that much. Like, it's just an unfortunate matter of timing. Okay, so we are seeing one substitution here. Ooh.
Kukullan coming back in.
Yeah, for Rainmaker on Moray Towers. Now this is a classic setup. And we've seen I've been seeing a lot of people recently getting very sneaky with the wall riding on this map. Ooh, and we've got someone else swapping out as well by the looks of things.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see exactly who's turning up. So, this one here, I'm having trouble reading. Oh yeah, looks like it's maybe a disconnect even. 'Cause I thought we already had. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe it's another sub. I guess we'll see. Only one way to find out.
Of course.
So medical, I think, yeah, still in there. So surely we're going to see that splat charger. It's done so much work already.
It makes sense, and like this is a great map for it as well. We're going to see a lot of snipes being open, and the Rainmaker's going to have a very hard time moving against Midnight on this one.
And of course, yes, Toad pointing out correctly that 5 o'clock are in Div 1. The reason that I flailed with them is because they have a bye this week, and it was Gallant Combatant versus Lime Soda that was the match I was trying to get. Ali was making some gestures, and I was just too flustered to read anything from them.
That's okay.
Yep.
There's a lot of teams now.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up sometimes.
Honestly, I feel we're spoiled with the quality of the teams we've got so far this season. Just
I agree.
This week alone, we've seen so much spectacular play.
Yeah, and this is week 1 of a whole series. We're in for this all month. Alright. Now we do have... Spaceman has been doing a wonderful job for his team so far. We've been seeing a lot of very excellent mid-range play, a lot of very defensive play, but also getting some really key splats on critical members on the other team. So should be commended for that. I don't think the results really show how well they've been working today.
No, I agree. I think Diamantia's cohesion in terms of how they look at, they cover the angles that their teammates either can't or just won't because of positioning or whatever, is quite impressive.
Absolutely. And the fact that Midnight have been able to just keep pressure on them despite their coordination just shows both of these teams are really bringing their all, and it's very close.
Yeah, I mean, when Midnight step on the accelerator, it's one of the most terrifying spectacles you can see in Splatoon. They are just so relentless when they choose to be aggressive. I'd argue, quite possibly even more so than Morning Sun, when everything's going their way. The fact that their opponents Diamantia haven't just caught up into a ball when that's happened, have done their best to slow it down and to answer it in kind, is really, really impressive.
Okay, so we're actually seeing very similar comps here. The only standout is probably the ballpoint on Midnight's side, Atomic. Making sure he can keep that close-range combat going with his long-range support.
We've got 2 Stingrays coming out on Diamantia's side.
Not surprising, especially for Rainmaker, it's something you'd expect to see. We can see Midnight very well set up on Snipe here. Medical's actually gonna maybe move in for the pickup here, yep.
Yes, avoids that long-range charge of fire, and the climb's all painted for him, so up we go.
Yeah, we are going straight up to that 50-point block here. Wow,
Medical, perhaps I'm not sure whether that was the right move or not, but backs off from Cullen, and now Spaceman's got time to get there and destroy it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of scrambling there from Diamanta, but we did see Spaceman again coming in with that excellent defensive play.
But now Yessoan is just up there lurking, ready to destroy people.
Oh, and
wins the Battle of the Rollers, and I think we're going to see another push.
Possibly, but I don't know if their team's fully in position for this. Oh no, they're
Jules going
up now.
alpha leather straight forward into that Stingray.
Not quite enough. Oh, we're seeing the wall climb, and yeah, that is a very strong score.
Climb over the bottomless drop.
Yeah, now that wall climb there is the excellent defensive position. As long as the other team is occupied, you can get a very high score on that. But not quite able to jump to the goal from there, so we are going to see the pushback from Diamant now.
I mean, that is still quite something. That's
it's always a wonder to see that in play. Always just watching people jump on that.
Cullen gets a bit wrong-footed there and goes for a fall, but the Rainmaker, it doesn't count as a reset from it. Interesting.
No, I think they might have been taken out before they hit the back of the map.
Oh, maybe for the latency in play there. 3 specials ready to go on Diamantia.
Okay, they're ready for the push here, and they do have the player advantage, but how long will it last?
Looks like the climb's uncontested. Out comes the Stingray though.
I wouldn't say uncontested.
No, I caught it too soon. The Compressor there avoids getting blasted by the Rainmaker shield, but Jules is able to safely lower it and goes for the reset.
Yeah. It's a good choice in this position because they do have that extraordinary lead.
Honestly, once you're at 4 points, you essentially, the other team, it's knockout or lose. There's not really any way you can calculate to beat 4 points without getting knocked out.
Oh wow, and an excellent counter snipe there from Medical. Going down there unfortunately, but taking out Snipe in midair is always impressive to see.
Oh, I'm feeling sorry I missed that. I guess we're just going to have to hope we see a bit more magic from
Take
Medical
the word
as
for
it goes.
Alright, we do see Midnight here. They're just setting up their defensive perimeter. They know they don't need to push this any further. They probably won't pick this up. They don't really need to.
No, they've got
they,
no...
want to get a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, you're right. They've got absolutely no reason to
Spaceman
grab it.
sneak it around, they take out Atomic and the jump in.
Only one player left on Midnight up against
Wow, they have a very good chance to push here.
Yeah, Jules,
Oh,
unfortunately
that is the
wrong foot.
soft
I think we have a real chance at an overtake here. Oh, where are we? Where are we? There we are. Oh, Floxy with only Spaceman as a front guard, and then Medical manages that charge a tap shot to stop the Rainmaker. Could very easily have gone another way.
That was almost the push, but they just weren't quite in position for the respawn there. And then we're going to see the reset.
Yep, down it goes.
It makes sense.
Yeah, because when you're sitting on such a good score, and now the clock is actually getting a bit mean, you've got no reason to push that. You want the other team to take risks. And they are doing a very good job of attacking Midnight now.
Ooh, Yessoan's going to jump in here and try and defend. Oh, and take
Everything
the
is in
2-for-1.
place. Kukulin with that Rainmaker, Fluxy as the Vanguard, Jules goes down, it's all on Atomic.
Oh. You can see there they had the wall climb painted, but they weren't quite able to get over to it because of the slight amount of green paint there.
And those desperation super jumps coming in. Spaceman functionally all alone. Kukulin doesn't get the Jake. Oh no, does! Gets that Jake splat on Medical with the super shot. Good on him.
It's good to see, but with the reset here and 30 seconds left, it's not looking positive for...
Still, the last time they moved it fast. You know, there's every chance they could manage it again.
Oh, but
Spaceman forces that desperation inkjet out with a ray. And
yeah, I thought Yessoan was going to get the flank there, but was picked off by Cullen, doing a very good job. They're just trying to get that numbers advantage right now, but because of the nature of this stage, the long-range weapons are going to be able to hold their own.
Medical jumps back to spawn, clearly going to work on a ray, but not quite there yet. Meanwhile, I feel Diamantia are not in such a bad position.
Yeah, it's not impossible here. They do have the first rail live.
But there comes the Stingray, and it's all on. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they were never quite out of it. Like, that just, like, Diamantia had two very strong opportunities there, but...
Yeah, I mean, in that, when it came down to that 1v1, and unfortunately it was just left with the harsh reality that the defending team had to only just come from their spawn, and the other team had to rely on risky super jumps in order to get anything done.
Yeah, it just wasn't going to happen in that case.
I would not have been at all surprised to see, like, yeah, like you said, either of those Diamantia pushes securing a lead.
Especially that one towards the end, they had the sneaky wall climb set up. And I thought it was going to happen, but because they had that small splotch of green paint, they had to climb over and become vulnerable, and that's where they did lose the Rainmaker. So it's a shame to see, but I mean, again, Midnight just showing their absolute dominance with that early push. They're all about that today, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I think they've realised that if they let things drag on without having set something good, it's just begging for them to get one-upped.
Absolutely.
They don't want to give them that chance.
No.
And of course, we're now off to Splat Zones on the Reef. A very, very knockout-friendly map mode.
It's just so easy to hold that under bridge point because it's so far away from spawn. And also, it only has two approaches and they're very easy to see coming.
Yeah. Of course, being two zones does make it a little bit easier on the team trying to chase. And the other changes to the Reef make it a little bit harder to spawn lock a team. But I feel it is still one where once you've got the zones, it's really on you at that point. Like, it's your game to lose.
Absolutely. Especially when you're playing very good defensive tech. If you're running Mine, if you're running Toxic, you can really keep the other team out of that zone, even if you can't keep them in spawn.
So with Enios coming back in, I'm expecting to see that heavy Splatling Deco reprise.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for this map especially. Running, I believe that is a bubble weapon. You'll be running over the two zones there and able to get a cap on both with one go.
And that wall as well just lets you, buys you time to shore up defenses on the bridge when people are coming in from street.
Yeah, it's critical when you're playing a Splatling to have a little hidey hole on the map that you can get that charge ready. Because once it's going, no one can approach you and you can just hold an entire team off by yourself. But if you don't have that area to just get that charge up in the first place, you're not going to be able to do it quite as effectively.
Yeah, so at 4-2, this is Midnight's chance now. First time in this match to just put a full stop on it. If they win here, that's it. They've got it.
Absolutely, but knowing Diamanta, this is not going to be an easy fight. We're definitely going to see some interesting attacks, maybe some counterattacks, because we have already seen these guys play zones together already.
Ooh, is that a Kensa Dynamo I see?
I think it is, this is exactly what I'm talking about. We're seeing a lot of change-ups.
Oh, yes,
on
and the Kensa
Diamanta.
Junior. Spaceman, I like what you're doing.
Yeah, we are going to see some talks up in this, and I'm very excited for that. Neutral going slightly... Ooh, actually... This didn't go how I thought it was going.
We got the 0-point hold!
That's always a wonder to see. You're never further away from winning than you are with a 0-point hold.
I love that it actually makes it worse than if you'd never captured at all.
It's rather incredible. Okay, we are seeing Oh wow! I was gonna say Midnight with an excellent defensive hold here, but Flux taking down.
One person left. Wow. Spaceman just managing a solo cap of the zones and just going, okay, I'll have some buddies here soon enough.
Flux did an excellent job taking out both of the anchors on Midnight's team, and that's really what let them take that zone back.
And Spaceman's is now
immediately
Spaceman has the luxury of being able to use them to defend the zones rather than being forced to use them in the push to cap in the first place.
Incredible, yeah. And now we are probably going to see the overtake here if they can... Oh, hang on.
Oh boy.
Yeah. There we go, that's the overtake. We're seeing, like, Diamanta are in a very good position. They're running multiple people rotating on bridge. And one person checking by spawn every now and again is just not able. Medical is hiding up there. What are they doing?
Well, they're waiting for an opportunity, I suppose.
Yeah, it didn't quite come to them, and they're going to have to back off here.
Yeah, and now the score looking much improved on Diamantia's side. Oh, Medical just casually destroying the inkjet, but then getting
yeah, unfortunately, the flank is strong with this one.
Yessoan splashdown doing so much work, though, completely stopping Spaceman's bubbles.
Yeah, I'm almost surprised we didn't see a cap on Midnight's side there, but they just didn't have the Turpin power to take it back. We are going to see that cap now, especially with the bubbles going out. But it took them a lot longer than they were probably comfortable with, and they have a lot to fight for here.
Yeah, at this point, the worst thing that can happen to them is if they get rallied. They've been dominant for the last couple of matches, and Diamantia have turned things up. They've shown, they've realised that they have to get aggressive too, and have been doing a great job with it.
Yeah, so, although I will say that Stingray doing an excellent job dislocating several members on Diamanta, leaving them with only one up now. It's going to be very hard for them to hold off. Torpedoes will help, but not that much.
I guess the question that I was going to ask and have been preempted by is, can Midnight answer this increase in pace from
I would say yes. We do have the Booyah Bomb with the bubbles going out, and that is going to be just enough for the neutral.
It's a neutral, but Enios holds their nerve. The Pressor now, caught a bit off guard. Oh, there we go, the overtake. Oh boy, this is absolutely electric.
I thought we were going to see the 1 second clutch cap there, but with only one member up on Diamanta, I think that's going to be match.
In the end, that's that. Wow,
man.
I still
think
think
put up
that,
a fight.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of force they put on there was exactly what we should have done. All it would have taken was a few little changes in execution here or there for it to have a very, very different outcome. So many little points within that game.
Medical did an excellent job not only taking out a lot of players, but using the Stingray not on the objective, but just to shuffle the other team around and put them out of position.
And corral them so that then their teammates could just go, well, hello, you're
absolutely,
I'm just
yeah,
going to
pushing
remove
them
you.
out of position. It's incredible to see just that level of coordination, like that cross-map coordination.
Well, and as well, that lack of hesitation too. These players on Midnight, they know exactly what Medical can do, and they don't waste any time in just going, well, okay, I'm going to accept that invitation, you've put this person in a position where I can do something about them, they're gone.
Absolutely, it was a masterclass effort. One person being able to hold 3 opponents in spawn on the reef after its changes is just critical to winning, and it's no wonder they were able to get all that score back despite the massive disadvantage they were at.
Well, So yeah, I really that does call for congratulations to both teams. They've given us some great games, many of which are
some last minute turnarounds.
I feel it was a closer set than the scoreline shows.
For sure, yeah. A lot of those matches really came down to the wire. We only had 1 or 2 really blowout matches. Being that incredibly powerful Clan Blitz play.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I want to see
like
that.
It's just like, yeah, we're doing this and you can't stop us. So I guess with that, we're finished for the first round matches for Div 1. Congratulations to all of our teams for their prompt scheduling and for their excellent play.
Yeah, professional both in play and out of play.
Setting the standard for everyone else to aspire to.
Absolutely, and like today was really a masterclass that you could learn from. You saw a lot of very excellent team coordination. You saw a lot of surprising plays and surprising comps as well, showing that teams shouldn't be afraid to experiment and try out new things because you can get some really interesting plays from that.
It's all about whether or not you can make it work. And I think in quite a few of the situations where we saw something unconventional, the answer was yes, they could make it work. You know, that double charger loadout that Midnight ran did pay off for them. Likewise, you know, just experimenting with the opening gambit on that Splatshot Pro. That was
very
terrifying.
Happy that we got to witness that, and also I think as well, Key. Every member on Midnight that played today had their moment. They had their moment where they pulled for their team and they managed to turn things around. And I think it just shows that each of the players have been practicing not only with each other but just putting in the hours to really hone their skill.
Well, of course, over the course of this set, we've seen 11 players from these two teams going at it, and it's cool seeing that, you know, that ability of these teams to judge who's right for this, when do we put them in, how do we use them, and get so much mileage out of their players.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's very clear the players know what they're comfortable with, they know what they've been training for, and they know what picks they want to use for which maps. Like, we definitely saw a lot of very situational picks, which is exactly what you want to see from practice teams.
All right, well, with that, I think we should probably be calling it a night. I suppose it's getting quite late.
Yeah, it was a bit of a marathon, but thank you for staying with us. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I certainly did.
Yeah, and, well, I mean, if we can look forward to even vaguely similar quality of matches for the rest of the season, I will be tremendously happy.
Yeah, I mean, look, day ends at the strike of midnight, and I think that they are going to be able to keep that going throughout these matches. We're going to see them bringing out a lot of double charger comps, a lot of very coordinated plays. I think it's something you got to tune in for.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. It's been a great evening. We'll have some more stuff for you over the coming weekend. Unfortunately, we haven't quite got stuff locked down enough to give you a timetable for it yet, but please keep your eye on announcements in the series server. Until then, good luck to everyone who's got matches up ahead. And I'm looking forward to seeing so much more Splatoon over the course of these next few weeks.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see it, and I hope everyone else is as well. Have a good night, everyone. Get some rest and play more Splatoon.
Yep. Good night, everyone.